and welcome to the Dad and Sons podcast, where you'll find not one, not two, but three whole 25 to 35-year-old heteronormative males sharing their opinions on video games.
Wow, going all the way back down to 25, huh?
Yeah, that's how old I am. And my name's George Weedman, and their names are Liam Edwards.
Hello there.
And Matt Visual.
Hello.
We're going to start things off this week by going through some survey data. Remember how for a couple weeks last month we were asking for the kids to fill out some questions on how bad of a show we are? We got 820 responses. And
Jesus.
My primary concern is why the hell the SoundCloud and YouTube numbers don't say the same thing as the survey data does. So this is really, really weird. And will clarify a lot of weird bullshit you guys have been seeing about this podcast. The survey data says that, like, a good 25% chunk of you guys watch this on YouTube. And that's not what the analytics on SoundCloud and YouTube say at all. Like, the number next to the YouTube video will be hovering around like 2,000 after a couple weeks, and then on SoundCloud it'll hover around like 5,000 to 7,000 after a couple weeks. So we're gonna be pumping more money into the YouTube asset soon.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
And making sure that YouTube uploads happen on the same day as SoundCloud uploads.
George.
Dude, it's like a 2.5 hour render. Like, it does require me to shuffle around the whole days in which I order this stuff.
I love how the comments from last week for people who do check it out on YouTube were like, an upload?
On Friday?
On a Friday? What magic is this?
We can confirm, just as we have suspected, that the real life story discussions seem to be everyone's favorite topic.
Oh, it's not the news? It's not the news?
You'd be surprised, actually. The news, depending on how the question is phrased, either comes in second or third place.
Man, last week was a ride.
Oh my god. I was hoping that you just scratched that episode entirely.
Oh, it's fine.
It's apparently a good thing we didn't, because while we got some angry emails from people who saying we should do it,
You really should.
a lot of the comments were saying it was the best episode for a while. So
Really?
I don't know, apples and oranges, I guess.
Yeah. The past 3 episodes, if you sort through the comments, you might find a lot more engagement.
Also, on that, if you have listened to the last 3 episodes, sincere thank you, because as noted by quite a few people, podcast numbers are down in general, and that does include us in some factor. So if you have been listening to the previous 3 episodes, or like the past 6, since this crazy world stuff has happened, sincerely thank you.
Yeah.
Tell your friends.
Your sons, your daughters.
So the real life story discussions are everyone's favorite topic, right? But then the coronavirus happened, and now we're just like telling stories about how we're locked inside and not doing anything interesting or exciting or funny.
Now we have no content.
Okay, here's a question. How are you guys getting food these days? Maybe something interesting and funny can come from that.
Wait, what are we doing?
It looks like George is brute forcing what the people want.
No, this is not how it works.
My stomach hurts because I've eaten too many fried pickles.
No, this is not the way to do
Okay.
this.
Next item on the agenda. It seems like when I plug a lot of the long form survey responses into a text analysis tool that makes those wacky word clouds show up that have bigger words show up next to smaller ones, depending on how often they're used. 2 words that show up a lot besides our names and articles and prepositions are funny and smart. Apparently a combination of funny and smart is what the kids come in for. We're funny and smart. I don't know where they get smart from.
This is the biggest reach around I've ever heard on a podcast ever.
Yeah.
Dude, I love pleasuring you two.
I loved how when we looked at the word cloud for like annoying or things you don't like, it was like my name in big bold text.
What? Yeah, I didn't put that on the outline. I'll scroll way down on my bigger data sheet about that one.
And like for what you want more out of the show in big bold text was just Matt.
What? Oh my God.
I just want to clarify that Liam just said 2 factually incorrect statements.
That is not true. That itself is a factually incorrect statement.
I am looking at the answers for question number 13 now. What is your least favorite segment of the show? The biggest word is news.
But it is.
And yet, will we ever drop the news? No, because this is George's podcast.
But guess what the biggest word in the word cloud is for question 12? What your favorite segment of the show is?
Live stories. Matt.
It's news.
Yeah, it's apples and oranges, I guess. Same thing again.
Well, that was a question that they had to answer with a fill in the blank, so that they had to give their explanation. And that's why the phrasing of the question, I think, matters. Like, news goes either both ways. It lands in either extreme. So,
Wasn't like one of the answers, like, one of my favorite parts is when Matt and Liam just annoy George. And that was quite high up on the list.
Quote from one of our responses. I think George is this ultra high-strung, contents under pressure madman with a lot on his mind and a lot to say, and the way Matt Visual completely tears him down 80% of the time is great.
I think I wrote that out.
So, we're going to be doing, like, no more than 2 news topics a week from here on out. If even.
Yes, carefully selected.
A happy one and a sad one, or like a heavy one and a light one.
And we'll see how
Or maybe
that goes.
even just a one.
Oh, man.
Good times.
So, how's your lockdown life going, boys? Day 1,027,000.
Do we have any interesting real life stories for this week?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I went to the river for the first time in a month.
The river?
Like the river in Kyoto.
Where you do your laundry?
Like if you've ever been to Kyoto, you know there is the river, which is the Kamogawa River, beautifully known the Duck River. And it's basically where everybody hangs out, has picnics. And I went there and I stopped and I had a quick beer from the konbini with a friend, 1 meter distance, masks and all. And I saw 3 men dressed as dinosaurs running along the river.
Running?
Wait, what?
3 men dressed as like inflatable dinosaurs.
Like you're talking about T-Rex.
The wacky ones? The floppy ones that flew fuffing down when you walk?
And then the head was just bouncing
like
back and
T-Rex,
forth.
Velociraptor, yeah. And they were just running.
No camera. Just this is for them. It's
No
not
camera.
for the 2.
Yeah.
This is just for them.
Immediate thought was like, it's a YouTube video. Like, I imagine it's some sort of corona soup prank. Can you get coronavirus if you wear an inflatable T-Rex, dude?
They're probably not wrong,
Answer-
though.
Probably.
Is there like a big Japan YouTube community? Have I been missing out?
Huge. Like, one of the highest ranked careers for kids in elementary school and even like junior high school right now is YouTuber.
I have to look this up.
It is a big deal in Japan.
I was told last time I was there that I could tell people I was a YouTuber with no shame.
I wouldn't go that far, but
Still some shame.
but yeah, they were just these 3 dinosaurs running, and it brought a glimpse of hope. Nature is returning.
We were the virus all along.
Well, I mean, have you guys gone to the parks and stuff? Like you hear the animals a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, there's a shit ton of
birds.
insects. I mean, it's starting to get warm again, so it's probably just that's what's happening. It does seem like there's more insects.
I have noticed the birds and the insects. Like, if I open my window, 10 minutes later, there will be, like, a couple new flies in the apartment. That didn't used to happen.
You need screen doors, my friend.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, there's no one else in this apartment anyway, so honestly, I welcome the company.
It's got to that point.
High fly.
Yeah.
Visitors.
Yeah, you're talking to the beetles.
I should leave some food out for them and give them treats.
That's how you... What is the Archie joke? That's how you get ants. Leave food
Who
on the
else am I
floor.
gonna talk to right now?
I don't know. Me and Matt.
Yeah, look at him pause. He's like,
Okay.
I'm like,
Well, no. In complete 100% sincerity, there is a big difference between having no other living creature in your home and having electronics communicate. Like, I would love to just have a dog or something for a
was
week.
about to say, get
Not
a dog.
permanently, just like a week, just for now,
not
just for this
permanently?
shit. Huh?
therapy dog.
why? Yeah, therapy dog.
Yo, you laugh, but I feel it. I feel the burn if I don't.
I hope you don't feel
Oh,
the
that's why, I hang out sometimes, go to the beach, even though the beaches have closed, just like now in Orange County, but
You-
the beach, the park, you see, parents out there with their kids and stuff like that, but it's not as crowded. Nice walk. It's nice. It's nice, dude.
See a couple of good dogs.
Yeah, I don't go by myself, but yeah.
Ooh.
Oh wait,
know how-
no, I'm just saying. I'm going out there by yourself, and then all you see is the parents looking at you like, "Why is this black
Why
dude,
is this-
bearded black dude, just out here by
This
himself
muscular bearded black dude staring at my children.
and smiling?"
Beautiful day we're having, ma'am, isn't it?
Come on, Jimmy.
So
Yeah. Don't look at him.
I'm a bachelor living by myself in a time where you're being advised to have as few guests and social interactions as possible, right? It's been a good
This
2
is
weeks.
literally like how your life has been for a long time.
Okay, for a couple months. It's been 2 weeks since I last saw any other human, and it's the only one human I've been seeing for the past 2 months. Everyone else is on video. And you know how it's been scientifically proven that, like, petting an animal or touching another person will give you a dose of dopamine from like, a hit of oxytocin, right? I'm wondering if after all this time, the very next time that happens, my whole body is just going to be like, oh!
Like he's just come for the first time.
like, I'm gonna hang out with a couple friends, and
middle
someone's gonna
school.
bring their dog over, and the moment my hand gets behind that pupper's ear, I'm just gonna be like, oh!
I wish this was a video podcast so people could see.
It has been so long since I have had that hit, you guys. It has been so long.
Oh my god.
George, what is wrong with having a dog? Like, why don't you just get a dog?
Because
It's
my apartment is
responsibility.
tiny, and I don't want to make
Your
another.
apartment's not tiny
Well,
compared
that's
to like
yes,
Japan.
compared to the needs of a dog, I doubt a dog would like live a long
Do you
and
have
happy
a
life here.
backyard?
No,
You have a back. Oh,
no, I live
condo,
on like
right?
a big. Yeah, I'm up in the air. The
dogs
dog
would be
would
fine. Get a small dog.
the dog would fall out the window and hit the ground if I put it in my backyard. And yeah,
Off you go.
I could get a small dog, but the other problem with that is that small dogs are like loud and yappy, and I need to make podcasts and record videos all the time.
So if
So-
anyone ever wondered where this was going, basically we're crowdfunding a dog for George.
I don't want to have a dog permanently until I'm in a bigger home, though. And as soon as I get into a bigger home, you guys, I'm gonna get a dog like right after that. But no, not in this like tiny little place. This place is too small even for me. I don't want to die in this place, let alone a dog.
You and your thoughts bouncing off the wall.
At least they wouldn't be bouncing in my head, and at least I could talk to the dog instead of myself.
I can imagine you get a dog and the dog just ignores you.
You guys gotten to the point where you're talking to yourselves yet?
I
No.
think I talk to myself anyway.
Yeah.
Huh. Cause
I always have done.
I'll have an internal conversation going, and if I haven't seen anyone in a couple days, like I will just say bits of it out loud, and I will consider it vocal practice, to train my voice for this weird job of mine that requires me to manipulate my voice good. But I had an open mic on with a friend the other day to try and keep me productive, and they heard me doing it in the kitchen and thought I was a total weirdo, so I was wondering if I should ask you guys if I'm a weirdo or not.
No, you're not.
No.
Whenever are we gonna say that you're a weirdo? Whenever.
You control our money.
Yeah.
Not very well.
You don't control your own money very well. Or very well. I'm not really sure. Which one impresses you more? My benevolent overlord.
I'm just saying, if you guys think I'm schizophrenic, please let me know. I would like to know as well.
So would the other two of you.
You're normal, George. Well, as normal as they come.
Talking to
Yeah.
yourself in quarantine is normal.
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of validated, right?
Starving for physical contact, even if it's an animal, is normal.
I wonder if when Matt talks to himself, he thinks he has a sexy voice.
I actually don't think about that at all. I just talk. If anything, it's a little bit more high pitched.
Is your internal voice like is that how you hear it?
Like, should I be doing this?
That was like a George
I just
squeal.
hear you spat water all over the place. What are we doing? Why are we here? We're 16 minutes in. What the fuck are we doing?
We're sharing real life stories, everyone's top rated segment of the podcast. See, we are responding to your feedback, kids.
What have you been playing?
Uh-oh.
Oh no! Don't let George start. Don't.
Okay,
Matt.
Okay, all right. I've been playing.
Left turn.
I've been playing Assassin's Creed.
Oh, for
So
fuck's sakes.
this happened before the announcement, so it was pretty interesting. I was just like, you know what? I
What
was
noun?
I started playing Odyssey.
Yeah!
I know. That's the one that I was like, oh, okay, George played this, so this will work.
Okay.
And I was like,
Liam
okay.
is finger gunning his forehead right now
Yeah.
for listeners who can't see.
Yeah. I was like,
The
okay.
circle continues.
You know, it was good. It was. I didn't beat it. I didn't beat it or anything, but like.
I was gonna say you would have beaten it faster than George ever did.
Yeah, that game is. I bet that's one of those games where like 2% of people have beaten it at all.
Yeah, it's pretty long. It takes a while for it to get going, doesn't it? Like
Yeah,
for you to get the boat and everything.
Remember when I was saying
Yeah.
like I was like week 1, oh what is this poop game? Week 2, it's like, oh now it finally got good. Week 3, I'm like, yeah, this is fine.
Yeah, I was waiting. Like I was at hour 10 and I was like, where's the hidden blade? Where's the hidden blade? There's no hidden blade in Odyssey. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Do you reckon that's why they pulled it out in the Valhalla trailer like almost immediately to be like, here it is?
You can't take away that was the innovation. That was like the thing that people make the costumes of. You can't take it away. You change it. Yeah, I'm a big fan of innovation. I'm a big fan of but you just don't take away what makes you an assassin when you call it Assassin's Creed. Make another game and name it something else.
Right? Okay.
You were saying that on Twitter. Like that makes completely
did.
sense.
It
Complete
does.
sense. And it seems like they're straying away more from cool stealth stuff anyway.
Yeah, so Odyssey is not a stealth game. It is an RPG hack and slash, like, explore 'em up. It is not at all like what the previous games in the series were.
Yeah.
And I am a weirdo who actually likes the new style better than the old.
See, I loved Desmond's story. When I was a kid, like, well, I mean, that was years ago, but I guess it was 2011 or something like that. Basically, I was a kid. Shit. Fucking 9 years ago. Yeah, I loved it. I loved the sneaky stealth gameplay. Like, that was the most stealth games I've played, I guess.
There weren't that many for a stretch.
There weren't that many. Yeah.
In the like mid 2000s or late 2000s, I guess, more like.
Other than Metal Gear, and Metal Gear is another one that's incredibly fun as a stealth game. These games are completely different. But what happened to me is that one day one morning I got up and a couple of my icons were disappearing, and then my computer proceeded to start crashing.
Oh shit!
And then I lost all my progress because I had to reinstall Windows.
Oh.
And I was definitely over 10 hours in there.
So you weren't playing the Google Stadia cloud version?
No, I like my life.
Shame on you.
I like a steady, no lag. So
on Google, you'd have your progress, wouldn't you?
The Stadia spokesman.
Just want to point out, this podcast is not brought to you by Google Stadia.
Sponsored by Microsoft crashing Windows.
Is Stadia actually good?
I have no idea. Never used it.
I need to. All right, I should give it a try and actually use it.
I just remember that was how George played the original. How he played Odyssey.
Yeah, and
the whole
time. No. The way it worked was that they gave away free codes for the game for beta participants of the Stadia beta. The Stadia beta.
Yeah.
The Stadia beta.
It's still in beta.
Oh. Yeah, but, Matt, there's a number of reviews you could look up if you want to try, but they also have a pretty generous free trial.
That's why I haven't tried it. I'm going to put my money on it. Yeah.
It's free now, isn't it? Because of the quarantine stuff?
Is
Didn't they release free?
I might have to.
I'm pretty sure there's a free trial you can. Oh, he's in.
Did he just get punched in the throat or what?
Yeah.
Google jumped through.
That's right. I gotta see. They can't see me because I don't want to spend $70 on the webcam.
I do. I will.
I'm gonna order one after this,
George. I swear.
I'll order one.
I want to see Matt's face.
But yeah, that's why he's mentioning those things. So what happened was I reinstalled Windows and I was like, I'm not gonna go back to Odyssey. I'm not. But what I did do, I was looking up the timeline and everything, and where things started to change was the game before, which is Origins, which is the origins of the Assassins.
Supposedly.
Yeah, supposedly, right? And I didn't know that this whole story was even continuing on because, I mean, they killed off Desmond and they barely have it in the other ones, right? Like, I remember playing Black Flag. Black Flag was the last one I played, which was like
I thought they dropped all the Desmond shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the worst part of Odyssey, to be honest. Like, the modern characters make no sense in that game anymore.
And Origins is a better game.
I was wondering about that. I've dabbled in Origins every now and then, and I've really liked what I've played. That setting is done super well.
So there's a few big differences. It's done. The voice acting is better. There's more personality in everything in that
is
game
it just,
compared to Odyssey.
Is it just me, or does it actually look better than Odyssey too?
It does look better. It does look better. Especially with the characters, the animations of the mouth, you see a lot of that. Unless I've gotten used to it playing Odyssey, you see that it's just like a little bit cleaner in Origins, even though it's older, like 2 years. It's quite interesting. In Odyssey, you have a bunch of these mechanics that, like, they want you to farm for gear and stuff like that are repeatable, like the wars and stuff like that. It kind of breaks the immersion of you. You're just kind of, I guess you're a mercenary and you fight for both sides, but you have a story that's also contradicting sometimes of what you're doing. You take quests on both sides. You kill both the Spartans and the Ascians. Like, it just feels off.
Yeah.
Is that only me? But in Origins,
I gotcha.
Yeah, in Origins, you don't do that. You have one enemy. You have one person that you kill. Like, so you don't, because you kill. Like in Assassin's Creed, you kill people. Like, you go in and say, "Oh, this guy is hounding my husband for taxes." You go kill him. Like, come on. You know, like that's you don't want to do that when you're playing both sides. Like it just feels weird. It just feels off. A lot of that. I mean, the world was huge in Odyssey. It was great. You know, going to places. I don't care for ship combat anymore. I like Black Flag because it felt better.
Isn't it ripped straight out of Black Flag?
Yeah, they just kept repeating it basically.
Okay.
But it's archers instead of like cannons, so it loses a little bit of its like pump. Yeah, so it's like, you know, throwing wet towels at them. I don't know. It's not the same. Ramming feels good, and that's pretty much it. When you can ram someone and they break in half.
It does.
Yeah, but I gotta say, overall, because it's older games, even though the new one's coming out, Origins is probably, for me, they have the hidden blade, yes. It's probably the better game just because of the story. It just feels a little bit more cinematic. The thing that Odyssey has better combat, you can reset your tree, you can manually save in Odyssey. You have more targets to kill. The bounty hunter system is better. You know, but when the story is just not there, you know, it's kind of hard to kind of keep playing. I might go back and play it, but if it's that long, I don't know.
I'm going to be going in the opposite order. I'm going to go to Origins and then Valhalla after this.
Origins...
I'm try to finish the Odyssey main quest, but I honestly don't know if I should at this point. I have had my fill.
I was hoping Xerxes was going to be in this, but Xerxes is not. From what I know, anyway.
Yeah, he dies a generation before Odyssey's time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you play as the 300, the children of whoever would have been involved in the 300 style conflicts, which is actually what dug me into the game, because that's when the Greeks started like writing good, and that meant I could like read along with the game and be like, oh, there's Herodotus in the game, and here's Herodotus in a book next to the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Odyssey got me into the setting because I guess the setting is very rich in real life anyway. Origins, on the other hand, like that Egypt is beautiful. It's gorgeous, and it's also like busy. Like you see people working at the mummy workshops and mixing together paints, and it looks like a living economy. And Odyssey has the buildings, but you don't see like as much economic activity, like idle animations. The feeling of a living city isn't quite there.
They do the whole like Call of Duty thing. It's been a while since I looked up like who makes what, but they have different teams that make each game, right?
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, Assassin's Creed, because they're completely two different games.
I think they said Valhalla is made by 16.
Ubisoft ton of people go into every game, but they have their core teams.
Gotcha. Because
I think each studio has a speciality. I mean, they still have like the Division and all the Tom Clancy stuff under their wings, right? That they need to focus on. Watch Dogs 2, you know. But I think, you know, a lot of studios double dip in multiple projects.
Because it's just a different game. Like in Origins, when you're in the water, like someone's always riding a boat next to you, like it's like the game knows, and you can go and borrow the boat, and then just sit on the boat and they wait for you to finish, and then you just drop off the boat, and then they get back and start doing whatever chores they're supposed to be doing on the boat. Like it's just interesting stuff like that you just don't see in Odyssey. There's no hay bags in Odyssey. You can't jump off into a hay bag. I understand it's the earliest one, but why aren't there hay around? I don't care. It's a game. Put hay in random spots that I can jump into.
Make hay
They
great
were
again.
around sometimes.
No,
when you
they
go
were
up to the
barely
sink
around.
with your eagle spot, those that's where the hay is.
Yeah, that was it.
I don't know. Whether or not there's hay bales isn't a game-breaking qualifier for me, is all I want to say.
I would probably play it again just because the combat and stuff was fun, and the bounty hunting stuff is fun. Even though the bounty hunters never really came after me unless I was at a fort.
So the ultimate question here, all I'm hearing is that you gave up on Persona 5.
God damn it! Why did you have to remind me?
It happened. The game is too long for even the guy who plays all the long games.
The thing, it's... Oh, shit. Did my progress go away? Oh,
Wait, no, because
you're
playing it on PS4, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you were emulating, right?
I was emulating. No!
You were emulating Persona 5?
Wait, did your hard drive go?
Oh, no. It was on my C drive.
I'm sorry I reminded you.
Oh, my God.
Announced to you.
I was honestly thinking about going back to it. But I played so long. I played so long of that. I was at 30 hours. I'm not playing another thing. I might as well play like the Royal Edition later on. Just buy the Royal Edition for PS4 a little bit later when I'm feeling for it.
How are you emulating a PS4 game? Wow.
Yeah, it was a PS3 game, so you can emulate it.
Ah, right. Yeah, it's the PS3 version. Okay.
It still blows my mind that they made a PS3 version of that game.
It runs really well on PC, let me tell you. Saves are fast, loading is fast. It runs well, dude. And it looks good. But yeah, I'll just buy it. At least I know what I'm getting into. I'll buy it for
30 hours, man. I would have.
I think I'm done. No, yeah, I think I'm done for now. I had to
20
reset.
hours of Kingdom Hearts 3 and I was done.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I lost all that progress, I was like, I never need to play this game again.
Yeah, right. Because your time is like, it's your time. You know.
It's what you
It's
have on
money,
planet
man.
Earth before you die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to
Time is
spend
more
it
valuable than money.
replaying something.
Hell no.
No.
Especially if you weren't fully enjoying it.
Yeah. It's just like, forget it. Yeah, if it was like, yeah. The second dungeon wasn't so good, but I'm pretty sure the other ones are pretty good. I just had to give it time, but I started to feel the formula after a while. After that second dungeon, I was just like, oh, I wanted some more interesting things to be happening right here. But I think
Maybe
I should have
your
given it
PC
time.
did you a favor.
Huh?
Your PC did you a favor.
We don't need you playing Persona 5, wasting your time away.
Yeah.
Go back to work.
Long ass Odysseys and
Do your taxes. Do your taxes, guys. Do your
I
taxes.
feel like both your own computer and the fans would have tried to steer you towards Persona instead of generic Ubisoft sandbox game, but
Yeah. I definitely have to finish a Persona game. The last one I played was 3 years ago before my friend blew up my PS2.
what is it with you and PlayStation stuff? Seriously.
Yeah, he borrowed 2 things. He borrowed my Xbox and he borrowed my PS2. Both of them died in his care. Red ringed my Xbox after like a day, and the PS2 just like he was moving something and something fell on it. And my Persona 3 disc got cracked too.
Oh.
Yeah. What do you do with friends like that, you know? What do you do?
Not be friends with them?
Yeah, we had some fights after that.
I'm not surprised.
Not like fist fights, but you know.
You stabbed him in the eye with the broken
just we had
Persona 3.
We had a serious talk after that. I was younger back then, but you know, I was still calm. I was still calm. Anyways, what have you guys been doing? I've asked you this podcast enough.
save me for last.
Yeah, because we know where you're
Just
going.
shove me to last. Just
Benevolent God, Mr. Civ Man.
squeeze me to the bottom of the tube.
Oh.
I tried 3 different games this week. I haven't played a significant amount of either of them, any of them, but I played a fair bit to sort of dive in a little bit. So first off, I bought One Step from Eden on my Switch.
What?
The game that
there's like
was getting suggested to Matt.
Yes. How
It's
do you like it?
So
Oh.
So for anybody who doesn't know, it's a roguelike that is kind of based off the battle system of Mega Man Battle Network, right?
Yeah.
That series of games. And I think it's been in development for like 4 years and made by one guy.
Whoa.
It was like a Kickstarter back in the day.
Okay.
And it takes a lot, it borrows a lot from like Slay the Spire and more recent roguelike stuff where you choose like your own pathway and stuff like that. So the idea is you're always trying to get closer to Eden, and you go through like different biomes, like the Arctic biome, or you go through like the lava biome and the forest biome, and each have wet enemies and hazards based on the type of biome you're in. And you build a deck, and the decks of cards you choose, like you would in Slay the Spire, and then the card becomes like a spell you can use while you're fighting, which is like the Mega Man Battle Network type of combat, where you're moving on like a grid, and you're constantly moving while other enemies are trying to like hit you with spells or attack you, and you can like fire back, and you have like a standard gun. So this game's really hard. I don't know, but it's really hard to me because you have to constantly keep moving. Otherwise, you're going to get hit and you're going to die.
Yeah.
You've only got one life because this is a roguelike. Now, if you watch any footage of this game, you'll immediately know it's bonkers. It's really fast, and there are two sides, your side and the enemy side. And they're both like, I think it's like maybe 4x4 grids. So, it's kind of like a big chessboard. And you're trying to watch your side because you're trying to dodge, like, enemy attacks appear on tiles with, like, an exclamation mark. So you're actually, like, watching mostly your side to dodge, like, all the tiles that are being attacked. While also enemies on the other side are, like, firing missiles or they're, like, moving, so you're trying to hit them as well. And it's all, like, kind of chaotic in your mind. And then, on top of that, you have, outside of that game frame, you have the spells that are in like this Final Fantasy 13-esque shuffle bar, like where they're stacked on top of each other like Tetris, and you know what is the next one you're going to get after you've used the current ones, which are attached to your A and B button. And then you can shuffle them, so then it rearranges them and then you get a new set. It's almost like drawing a card every time. Now the problem is with this, and I think this is kind of the biggest issue I have, is that the way the spells appear are like as tiny square little icons in the bottom corner of the screen. So you not only have to look at these tiny icons in the bottom corner and decipher what card they are, remembering what spell it is, because it doesn't have any text, it doesn't tell you what it is, it's literally just an icon of what the card is. So you have to remember, wait, what card was that? And then you have to remember, wait, what did that card even do? And not only that, it's absolutely tiny. So when you're trying to move around and do all this kind of stuff, you're trying to look at like this long like stack of spells and then see what spells you have, and are they passive? What is it going to do? Is it going to like defend me or buff me? It's like juggling like 8 chainsaws at the same time. It's nuts.
Yeah. Did you get past the first boss?
I managed to get past the 3rd boss. That's like the best run I've had so far.
Damn. Okay.
So have you played it, Matt?
No. I have not played it. Yeah, I've watched a bit of it. I knew it was gonna be my type of game because I like Battle Network, but I like Battle Network, and that is a roguelike, like
Not
extremely
Battle
fast.
It's so fast. It's a lot faster than Battle Network.
Yeah, and I'm okay with fast. Just I'm not a Slay the Spire type of dude. Yeah.
It does rely super heavily on choosing the correct cards and stuff like that. It has like all the Slay the Spire mechanics of like removing cards because you don't want to fill your deck with too many rewards, because then you'll never draw the cards that you want. So the more cards you have, the less chance you have to draw the stuff you want. So you're always like culling cards and like ignoring rewards, but then you have to literally like stare at the screen and like memorize the icons, because otherwise when you're in battle you just have no idea what spells you're throwing out. It feels really disjointed.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, once you are moving and you're like firing your standard weapon and then you're throwing out some spells and you start to memorize some stuff and you know like thunder is going to be like force. That's the thing is, right, a lot of spells also don't just cast out and then automatically do what they're supposed to. You have to literally get into positions. So like your character will be like on the fourth square on your side, but then the actual cursor for where the spell will land will be four spaces on the other side, and then you have to like align it and make sure the enemy's in that tile. So you're not only juggling that and the spell and the position and also not getting hit. It's fucking bonkers. But once you do sort of get a little bit into that, you do end up getting into that flow state, that zen state that you have with games like this, where you have a good run and you're pushing a little further and you're like, oh, I'm gonna get further than I've ever got before, and that does, give the glee of progress.
Yeah,
it is pretty good fun.
I feel like I've slowed down in my years, and games like this is just wild.
It's one of those that you're going to see like Twitch streamers have like min-max decks that they're like, yeah, I'm going for like a full offensive deck, and I think you can probably get a lot out of it if you wanted to. I played it for about 5 or 6 hours, I think, so far.
Whoa.
And I have enjoyed it, and it's a very stylish looking game. I think the pixel art is a little weak. It's very basic, but like
one guy.
lot of the... It is one guy, and a lot of the polish around it is very good. And I think actually a lot of the spells in the game are like community member created stuff.
Oh, that's
so I
cool.
think it has like it is pretty cool, and they have like the signature of the user who suggested the card. So there's a lot of that, and there's a lot of good about it. I definitely think it's maybe a bit out of my league.
Yeah.
So I switched gears.
Hey.
And I downloaded a couple of games on the Xbox app, the Xbox Game Pass.
Whoa.
Hot damn.
That's a lot, right?
That shit is so worthwhile.
Yeah, man. For $5?
So
Got Gears Tactics
Yeah.
down there, too. I haven't played that yet.
I'm
So
real
that's the thing,
interested
right?
in this one.
So first off, I started playing Streets of Rage 4. That just
Yes.
came out.
Is it co-op?
And it's co-op, yeah. I think
You
it's
didn't
online
invite?
co-op as
Okay.
well.
have to play
I
that.
only played the first couple of stages. I was more interested because of scrappers and like what we can maybe glean from it in like future updates, like looking at their combat system. And it's pretty good. It's as you'd expect. But I don't know about you guys, but then on the flip side of One Step from Eden, Streets of Rage almost feels too slow. And I really think this is me being super nitpicky, so people are probably going to be upset. But
Goldilocks
hey,
over here.
what else is new? Exactly, right? But you know old beat 'em ups, right? Your character walks so fucking slow.
You press the punch button and then they stop and place and then punch.
Yeah. So whilst this game has really sick combos and a really good system, I don't know if I can play games where I can't at least dash, like double tap, or like, hold the stick down to run sideways, because moving around with like Axel, I actually don't know if the other characters have dashes, so maybe I am wrong, but playing as Axel, like who's the main character, I don't know, man. It's so slow.
Yeah.
It's so slow. It looks great though, and feels really good to like do combos and stuff, but it's that same old thing as old Streets of Rage, you get hit because you can't move because you don't move fast enough, and you just have to sort of sidestep up and down to avoid attacks. It doesn't feel very it doesn't match up with how good the combo system is. I feel like there should be an opposite in terms of like dodging or at least parrying and stuff like that, but it doesn't really have that as far as I can see so far. So I'm kind of a bit lukewarm on it. I think it's fine. I think it's as you'd expected. I think a lot of people who enjoy Streets of Rage are really going to enjoy this game, and I think, there's a lot of good there. I need to play more. Maybe we can play some online co-op, and it will feel a bit better.
Yeah.
But the game I have been enjoying the most, that has surprised the shit out of me,
Animal Crossing.
is Gears Tactics.
This is good news.
Oh,
I
okay.
have been playing it. I started playing it yesterday, and I've played about 3 or 4 hours of it so far. Maybe the first 3 missions, I think. It's good, guys.
Downloading it now.
And I don't really care about Gears of War.
Yeah.
It's like a pretty good XCOM clone with polish.
This is an idea that seemed a little weird and iffy to me until I played Gears with Matt. Gears is surprisingly tactical, guys.
This is exactly... You're exactly right. This is based on a series all about running between cover to cover. Nothing suits tactics more than running cover to cover.
Yep.
And it's quite good. Like, it has, like, Overwatch mode, and it has, like, real good tactical decision-making with AP meters. The only thing that frustrates me is it doesn't have a grid-based system. So you can't see a grid on the floor. So it uses, like a drag the mouse to see how many spaces you can move in a 360 space. Which is can be a little disorientating because spaces that look like you could move them in 2 and you accidentally press it are actually 3 and you've wasted all your AP. Whereas with a grid-based system like Fire Emblem or XCOM or whatever, right, you'd be able to very clearly see, like, that's 3 spaces I'm going to move towards, or that's 1 space, or whatever, right? But regardless, it's fun. And it's full-on, like, got it, story. Yeah, a Gears story, right?
Yeah.
It's about shooting locusts in the face. But it's really well voice acted. It looks gorgeous. It's beautiful to look at. Tactically, it's, as good as XCOM as far as I can see so far. And it's got a shit ton of customization stuff. Like, I decked out my Gears in, like, the biggest pink and purple chrome armor.
Anti-camouflage.
With, like, neon green guns that have star patterns on them. And I gave them, like, super powerful, like, barrels that do plus 50% damage if they, like, stamp on a locust's head. And it's got, like, execution kills, like, so it rewards you. If you, like, down an enemy, if you take the risk of, like, using your last AP to, like, run over there and, like, stamp on the locust's head and kill it, all the rest of your party members get an extra action point because they feel inspired.
Morale.
So then they can run in and, like, cover the guy who's just killed the locust. So you've nailed one locust and you can move your whole squad forward. There's a lot of, like, tactical depth to it. It feels so far. Obviously, I'm only, like, 3 missions in, but so far, I'm quite impressed. It's made by Splash Damage, obviously not Coalition, but so far, like, for the fact that I could basically play it for free on Xbox Game Pass, it's worth it.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it so far.
Oh, I'm gonna
Very
give that a
surprised.
try. I've been waiting for that for so long, and I was like, all right, I'm not gonna start it until I'm done with Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, Matt, you gotta.
You'll never be
give it a
done.
shot.
Not fast
Now,
enough.
now all your progress is wiped out. You might as well just stop.
I'll give it a try. I'm
But
downloading
that's
now.
me. I'm thoroughly surprised that it's as good. Oh, it feels as good as it has been so far. It's been kind of giving me, like, a little bit of glee because it kind of came out of nowhere for me. But it fits, like, my tactic tastes, like, perfectly.
Yeah.
It is very XCOM though. If you've played XCOM, like the new XCOMs, it is just that with Gears of War skin. There are little differences, but yeah, mostly it's for people who like XCOM.
Can you save?
The game.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can save mid-mission. I haven't tried, but you can save the game.
Okay. Because XCOM, that's the way people play. Is you can save mid game.
Oh, like save scumming.
Saves coming. Well, that's when.
It does have a Iron Man mode in the Gears Tactics as well, so you can play with complete permadeath.
Oh, okay.
but
So you don't have
because-
permadeath. Okay, great.
Well, that's the thing is because it's a character-based story. When your units die, you just have to restart the mission. Yeah. There's no like, oh no, George just got shot in the face. George is dead forever. No XCOM kind of like that though.
Bye. I'm gone.
Yeah. Salute. Farewell.
That's what I did in XCOM when I played XCOM way back. Is name everyone.
Purposely got George shot.
It's like, oh no, George.
He's dead now. We don't have to listen to any Civ talk. Oh wait, yes we do.
It's okay. It's okay. My cousin died too.
Wait, really?
No, wait.
Was it Corona?
XCOM. No, my friend had Corona though. He didn't die, and he somehow broke his leg dancing while he had Corona, and I lost my mind.
2020, everybody.
Did he TikTok it at the same time?
No. Oh man.
I got Corona.
I miss my friends, man. I really do miss my friends.
Hey, man, he's talking to us. What the hell?
Oh,
It's not.
Listen, guys. These fools do not talk to me unless we're on the podcast. Okay, these are.
That is a damn dirty
There are some
eye.
weeks where we try.
You hear George?
Talk in that Discord
George
all the time.
And George
I
says
see
the
you
truth.
and Liam talk sometimes. It happens every now and then.
I am flabbergasted. Both of you are terrible.
I think what we should do is try to arrange some Streets of Rage 4 or something. There's like,
I mean, they're the only streets we can go on right now.
we got true, and I mean we're always enraged these days. You know, the politics.
Yeah.
Game leaks.
He can't go one episode without mentioning something.
I got a question, Matt.
Yeah.
Your friend who got the Roni,
The road.
Rony.
was he
Healthy.
He's alive, yes.
black?
Is he what?
Was he black?
No.
Oh yes.
There's no black people in Orange County. I keep telling you that. I have all
Black
white
doesn't have
and
any black
Asian
friends.
friends.
We know this by now.
we've
White
seen all the
and
news
Asian
stories,
friends. That's
right?
all I have.
We've seen all the news stories about how more black people are getting it than white people.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, and it
The
sucks.
circle continues. We talk about
Racist ass virus.
I've dodged it because
because you don't go outside.
I don't consider myself to have a great immune system. I don't know what happens if I were to get it, but I think I'm good. I like living my life.
Touch wood. Touch wood, man. Don't jinx that shit.
I know. I don't have insurance, so it would be really bad for me to get it. Then that's why black people are affected more, because they don't have insurance, just like me. It's not just because they're black.
Speaking of terrifying problems facing real people in real life, you guys are gonna hate me so goddamn much. All right.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I'm happy to have waited 54 minutes for this chunk, because that meant that we didn't turn another podcast episode into talk on Odyssey and Civ. But I'm doing a video on global warming and like real life modern world theme strategy games. So I spent a shitload of time over the past week playing old Civ games, and I want to talk about Civ 1 from 1991.
Wait, no. I'm joking. That's right, you can't see me.
Just get on Google Images, type in Civilization 1 1991, and you will see like an incredibly unfriendly, jank-ass looking game that looks way too old and dusty to be playable. But what I have found out by blasting through this series really freaking fast is that
it's not playable.
No, Civ 2 and 3 actually are like, they feel older and more aged than Civ 1 does nowadays, because Civ 1 now looks like cute pixel art, and the interface has like a lot of surprising little tricks going on that I did not know were available at the time.
George, you played this? You played this?
Yeah. Okay, so here
What
Hear me
is
out.
this?
You have a mouse and a keyboard, but you move all of your units with just your arrow keys or the number keys. And every single time you move a unit, it does that thing where it bumps you along to the next one and make sure that no units are idling. It has like a very streamlined, user-friendly way of filtering you through every new pop-up that you'll need to encounter throughout the game. And it's also not as complicated as it looks a lot of time. Like, the combat is a dice roll with either a win or a lose state and no HP to manage whatsoever. The diplomacy is one of 3 different questions that you occasionally get asked by other civs as your units encounter each other. And the tech tree is no more complex than a text reminder telling you what 2 technologies you need to get another one on the way at the end of a description. It's so hard to explain why the game looks and feels better in your hands than it does in naked screenshots, but
I'm watching it. It's interesting.
It's totally a real thing, and I get why this became a mainstream, super duper hyper popular hit back in the day, despite what looks nowadays like something very, very old and dusty and bad. But like with Civ 2, they make the transition over to a Windows 95 interface where it looks like a desktop app that has a gray, boring color scheme in the UI with the minimize, maximize, close buttons in the corner. It looks so much more artificial than this one, where you can fully get immersed in a lot of cute, fun pixel art. And I don't know, I heard a gasp back there. Did something cool happen on the video you were watching?
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. I didn't know they actually had people talking in Civ 1. And I'm looking at Civ 2 now. So yeah, Civ 2 does look
from
a little bit
Wikipedia.
better. Yeah.
Civ 2 looks worse. I like this old pixel art of Civ 1. You also have customizable villages and like a customizable throne room that gets updated every now and then. And the costumes for your scientists change over time. Like, there's a lot of extra features in this first old, dusty, rusty game that have been lost over the years that I was surprised to find out were being executed fairly well off that early on in the series.
Wow. In Civ 1.
Yeah. In 1991, there were a lot more games with global warming and like environmentalism concerns than there were in later years when it actually became a more pressing, relevant concern in everyone's life. Like the general trend I'm going to be talking about is how in the early 90s and now the late 2000s it comes back. But in the time in between, a lot of mainstream big budget strategy games just did not want to tackle the subject. Like SimCity Societies faced controversy for it and had to, well, they didn't have to, but they ended up like roping BP along with some publicity stunt about giving the game some edutainment content. In Civ 1, global warming happens after you research automobiles. It turns tiles into pollution that can be cleaned up. In Civ 2, global warming will wreck everyone's ass. Like if you accidentally trigger it, like it turns into a DEFCON game where you just survive, you no longer win. And then Civ 3 has easier global warming mechanics again. Civ 4 has the desertification mechanics where occasional tiles turn into desert, and then Civ 5 releases with nothing at all. And so does Civ 6 and vanilla. And there's some quotes from Sid Meier at a launch party about how they might have wanted to avoid some controversial topics. But then Donald Trump gets elected. U.S. withdraws from the Paris Climate Accords. These hurricanes utterly wreck Puerto Rico and Haiti. There's wildfires in California and Australia. And now we're seeing environmentalism and global warming come back in a big way. And I just, in an earlier podcast, was talking about how they made this whole expansion pack themed after it. So that's me. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, there's FMVs in Civilization 2. That's pretty cool. Wow, back.
Yeah, they're cheesy. They're
they're really cheesy. Like
I like pixel.
You went to a
art
costume
better,
store.
Very, very It's 90s video game FMV, and I don't know if that's aged as well as the 80s video game pixel art.
Wow, the Civ series has sold over 35 million copies. That's crazy.
Everyone has fallen in love with a Civ at some point in their life, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
I never beat it. Never beat it.
It's more about the journey than the destination.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
All the Civ games have never elegantly done their end game well, up until, I would argue, Gathering Storm just now.
I don't know. I was obsessed with Civ 5. That game could do no wrong to me.
Civ 5, I felt...
Especially with the expansions.
Yeah, super came together with Beyond the Sword. Like, I really love... And they really expanded on this in Civ 6, but how you do a lot of civilian, quote-unquote, combat... like with the archaeologists who you'll try to sneak behind into enemy territory and get their artifacts, even though they're not technically a military unit that could get destroyed per se. It's really, really fascinating how, even going as far back in 1991, there were mechanics in place that make warfare and military strategies feel like you get diminishing returns compared to using units like diplomats and traders, which are even there way back in the first game. Like civilian units. It's neat. That's all. Okay, I should stop.
No.
I'm gonna go home.
I have not played nearly enough of Civ. I played like a bunch back in the day, and then a bunch recently. Like, what was it, a year ago? When I was like, I've been playing Civ 6.
Yeah. You tried, but it didn't happen. Civ 6 vanilla didn't do it.
Still never tried 6. Still never tried 6.
I think it's worth it with an expansion pack installed, but I wouldn't go for the vanilla version at this point.
Yeah, it's the same thing you told me.
Yeah, I mean, I like it, but it seems like it's just not rubbing off as well on other people as it did to me.
I remember Civ 5 was like my first ever interaction kind of with a PR company with 2K when I spoke about... I can't remember what it was. I think it was the GameSpot UK podcast back in 2010, I think, when Civ 5 came out. And I talked about having played Civ 5 a lot and that I hadn't played any of the expansions. And then the next day I arrived at work, there was a massive package and there was like 4 copies of Gods and Kings waiting for me. And I was like, game journalism forever.
Damn.
That conflict of interest, man. They're bribing you with the swag.
Yeah, it was when I was an intern at GameSpot UK, and I just remember the letter from, I think it was one of the head of 2KPR, and he just said that he really enjoyed listening to me talk about my pleasures of playing Civ 5 so far, and he wanted me to expand my horizons with Gods and Kings.
The cycle always is that the vanilla game is like the one that doesn't seem to hook people as much as the fully expanded experience. I'm wondering, did you get sucked into the vanilla of Civ 5? Because for me, I didn't.
I did, yeah, I did.
Was that your first one in a while?
It was probably my first formative one. It was 2010, so it's, I'm 20, having grown up playing, mostly predominantly PS2 and Nintendo stuff, that a game like Civ would have been something of a rarity to me. It's the cusp of Steam becoming popular as well, when every sale was just either Oblivion again or Valve games or Civ.
2010, back when Steam sales were still fun.
Back when you looked forward to the summer sale,
back when you looked forward to summer. Yeah, we got what might be yet another one of the hottest summers on record and humans living on planet Earth. We got a second wave of the coronavirus coming.
It was so hot yesterday. It was upsetting.
We got more and more nasty election tactics coming from both parties. One of which I don't understand how people still think is the same as the other.
Fuck you, Baltimore!
If you're dumb enough to buy a new car this weekend,
You're a big enough schmuck to come to Big Bill Hell's Cars.
bad deal.
Cars that break down.
Thieves.
If you think you're gonna find a bargain at Big Bill,
You can kiss my ass.
it's our belief that you're such a stupid motherfucker.
You'll fall for this bullshit.
Guaranteed.
If you find a better deal,
Shove it up your ugly ass.
you heard us right.
Shove it up your ugly ass.
Bring your tray.
Bring your title.
Bring your wife.
We'll fuck her.
That's right, we'll fuck your wife.
Because at Big Bill Hell,
You're fucked 6 ways from Sunday.
take a hike
to Big Bill Hell.
home of challenge pissing.
That's right.
Challenge pissing.
How does it work?
If you can piss 6 feet in the air straight up and not get wet,
You get no down payment.
don't wait.
Don't delay.
Don't fuck with us or we'll rip your nuts off.
Only at Big Bill Hell.
The only dealer that tells you to fuck off.
Hurry up, asshole.
This event ends the minute after you write us a check.
And it better not bounce or you're a dead motherfucker.
Go to hell.
Big Bill Hell's Cars.
Baltimore's filthiest.
And exclusive on one of the meanest sons of bitches in the state of Maryland.
Guaranteed.
Considering what happened last week, we're doing happy news this week. Welcome back. Happy news, positive, cool stories. With all due respect, not a lot else happened this week. So
Happy.
Upload VR published a absolutely sick video from Sony's R&D department about the prototype controllers they're working on for the PSVR 2. And I know at least Matt is really going to get a good kick out of this stuff. Matt, have you seen this video?
I have not. I'm looking it up.
All right, I'm going to DM it to you in Discord so we can hear your reactions to this. They are demonstrating some finger tracking technology
Oh,
that
okay. From
is
PlayStation.
Valve
Okay.
Index style. Yeah, it's the $1,000 high-end PC stuff coming out for whatever's going to be the next $500 mainstream affordable
Whoa.
middle-class video game console.
No. Why does that look better than Valve stuff?
I'm seriously either worried or skeptical about that because it looks
Pretty good.
perfect, right?
Yeah.
So
There's like a slight wiggle, but like that's fine.
It's not using any sort of visual mediums to track your fingers. It's all pressure on the pads you're touching. But I wonder how the hell then it's able to know how extended your fingers are. Because on the Valve Index controller, like it's kind of a Boolean. Your finger is either grasping the object in VR or fully extended, depending on where your fingers are on the controller. And this one looks like it has a hell of a lot more of a gradient to what it's able to keep track of in your hands there.
Yeah.
The technical language describes it as an evaluation of machine learning techniques for hand pose estimation on handheld devices with proximity sensors. And another interesting dimension to this story is that the stuff they've published before about the PS5 controllers, the traditional game controllers, the Dual Sense as they're calling it, has those pressure sensitive triggers that like resist or succumb to your fingers depending on whether or not you're drawing a bow or like firing a revolver with a sticky trigger or something. And I like how many developments in next-gen video game technology seem geared towards conveying a sense of touch with your games.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what makes me laugh about this video? I've just realized.
What's that?
The guy's using a Vive.
Oh yeah.
He's using a Vive in the Upload VR video.
Yeah, he is.
When he's messing around with like.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
using a
like
Vive.
1 minute in. But the
Damn.
controllers are Sony. The controllers are Sony.
This is really cool though.
Right?
Wow.
I think after playing Alex and putting like boxes in weird positions and like trying to wrap my fingers around
Yeah.
stuff, I am totally down for like finger tracking.
that was
Yeah.
so
The way
annoying
forward.
in Alex.
And oh, Alex is fine.
Yeah.
Every time, you just gotta imagine in your head, every time a finger intersects or collides with a solid object, you feel a little haptic rumble in your hands, and after no more than 5 minutes, your brain adjusts. Like, you actually develop an instinct for whether or not you're touching something in the game, and that's gonna be really cool to see more of. I'm excited for I thought this was neat.
Sweaty palms.
If they can really pull off this like finger tracking stuff, I'm down.
Yeah,
yeah,
The
absolutely.
question is whether or not it's going to work as well in real life as it does in the video.
I have come to realize that my favorite thing in VR is grabbing things
Yes,
easily.
absolutely.
And now you can grab it with sweaty palms because apparently that's like a demo
Oh
part.
yeah, I just saw that in the video.
Yeah. Flip to 4 minutes in, and they cut to someone with like
So if,
They're
with
still
all the
using
ice.
Vive technology
So
stuff. Like,
if you wanna
what are
grab
those
some-
Vive things on top.
if you want to grab stuff and get gamer juice on your controllers, you're good to go.
No, do you remember Gamer Goo? You can protect your controllers with Gamer Goo.
Yeah, more goop for your controller. Oh, it's just gonna be drenched in all sorts of fluids.
It's interesting to see them use Vive technology stuff for their prototypes. Like even on top of the grey mold, the black thing on top is like a Vive
Like a tracker.
sensor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The gray mold itself is like just kind of funny to look at right now,
It
though.
looks like an Ace Combat joystick, like a flight stick or something.
Absolutely looks like a prototype.
Yeah.
I like how the foreign objects test is just a dude who is decked out like a rapper wearing like 8 rings and a watch.
It is compatible with Mr. T, yes. Yeah. And unless the world dies first, we're about to be touching the stuff in our video games, you guys.
Oh,
We can solve coronavirus with our fake hands.
You can
I just
stick
We
your
can
finger.
extract DNA.
I want to do a midnight gospel. It's on Netflix.
You watch that?
Yeah, have you watched it?
I want to. I loved the
I
little
want to
It's
as well.
trailer.
it's
It looks
it's like a podcast almost, an animated podcast. I love it. And he puts his head through this thing that looks like a
A vagina.
yes. For VR, I want to do that for VR. Forget everything else.
Put your head through a vagina.
Yes,
Ah,
I mean that's where
I'm sure you could do that already.
so. If you guys flip
not
to
gonna answer.
5, I hate to roll us back to the topic at hand, but if you guys flip to around 5.5 minutes into the video, you'll see them describe a failure case in which the tracking is not working out. And this actually is what I see happening on my Vive all the time. Like sometimes it'll think a hand is still down there when it's not, or vice versa. And I wonder what the hell they're implying for this video at the very end. Because it doesn't look like they fixed the failure case. There's a wire
I'm
they
sure
kind of
if-
tug around.
That's for grounding. Like if you lose the wires in the inside of the actual case.
Oh, like what happened to my PSVR?
Like what happens if wiring gets loose inside of the actual controllers?
Well,
I guess that's happy news.
that actually is what happened to my PSVR. An internal connection came loose, and that's not a happy reminder for that to be in the video of the prototype for the next one.
too much action going on, huh?
Too much sticking his head in vaginas in VR.
Well, the thing is that the box where the wire came loose is located right around your ankles and your feet. It's a box that has been stepped on many times by what I would consider a design flaw and just where on the wire they put it. That's all. We can move on to the next one. Which is
let's talk
Assassin's
more about
Creed Valhalla.
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, which unfortunately we did run into during the intro. Okay, well,
Yeah.
now we can clarify. Assassin's Creed Valhalla's announced. It was a fun day of announcement events. They had the a graphic artist revealed the game's title by just touching up the graphic key art all day on Twitch with raw Photoshop on display for everyone to see. And as the day went on, they revealed a little bit more chunk of the graphic until the very end. And what I saw happening was that the journos must have had a tab of that open because people were getting updated on it throughout the whole day. It was...
But all the journos knew about it before the
Yeah, there was some Easter eggs in Odyssey hinting that the next setting would be Vikings. So the big reveal was that the word in the title is Valhalla. The game's activities include hunting and fishing and sailing, but also dual-wielding shields and Viking rap battles.
Nice.
We said Viking rap battles?
Yes.
Like rap?
From the official game website, flighting, or as it's better known, verbally devastating rivals through the art of the Viking rap battle is one of several minigame activities included throughout your adventures, which are going to have you exploring Norway and England?
Well, yes, the Vikings invade England. That's the story of the game, right?
Yeah, and Alfred the Great looks like an absolutely infuriating, punchable villain.
Well, he's a British king. He's exactly what they were.
You might know more about the history than we do, Liam.
I mean, I know some of my history, I guess.
How punchable was Lord Alfred the Great?
He was supposedly not that bad of a king, to be fair. But then it's written from the point of view of the English, I guess. This is the thing that the trailer tries to do, right? Like, the stereotypes of Vikings is that they are bloodthirsty, warmongering, crazy
Godless
people, right?
barbarians.
And they obviously were just a race of people that were not too dissimilar from every warring, conquering empire. I just, as somebody who has not played Origins or Odyssey, and both of you have, so you guys are coming off the back of the kind of gameplay loops that this game might have, I am fucking all in. That trailer is... And I know we don't talk about trailers because we shouldn't buy games day one, blah, 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 blah. That trailer was fucking great. That if you are going to build up hype for a game and you're going to demonstrate like the full power of your studio, that's how you do it. That is a good trailer.
What, cinematic trailer?
Like, it's not... Yeah. Like, it made me want to kill English people. And I'm English.
I'm wondering how they're gonna
Put that on the box quote.
That's how you know it won't offend anyone. I'm wondering how they're gonna play off the like good guy Viking scene you see where you see them like cross paths with women and children fleeing from a burning village, and your hero is just like, yeah, well, you guys can go, it's fine, but they're still raiding and pillaging them.
I mean, didn't you just kill everybody in Odyssey and Origins anyway?
Yeah, but they try to... The morality of Odyssey is so freaking weird.
Yeah.
Like one of the things that I think also shocked me in the HBO Rome show is that just life in the ancient world was not considered valuable by almost everyone involved.
Are you guys not hyped for this game?
No, I am.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'll play it once it comes out on DVD.
You mean when it comes out on PS3 emulator?
No. I'll get it.
Okay.
I mean, you play...
This trailer not excite you? This trailer excited me, and I obviously haven't played the previous two games, and I don't want to. Whereas I actively want to play this game.
CGs don't really excite me. It's more gameplay that excites me.
Yeah, like what I'm happier to hear is the team that they're kind of putting together for it. Like they got their big megalithic 15 studio Juggernaut hammering away at it, but they've been selective with the core team. The writer from Origins is going to be on. The gameplay directors of Black Flag and Origins are both going to be on. They're keeping that island hopping sailing loop and mercenary system from Odyssey, and they're going back to Assassin's Creed 2 to have you level up a comfy home you're going to be coming back to all the time.
That's cool.
Yeah, they seem like they want to put together a dream team for this one. And appeal to everyone for...
Go with what was successful, right?
They're going to have the big cities and the countrysides and the naval combat and the writing of Origins and the Odyssey. The gameplay of Odyssey should more or less be a great combination. That's the weak point of both of those games that can be corrected here now that they've also further... polished up the more hack and slash RPG style loop.
Yeah. Those two put together is gonna be good.
But yeah, I feel like I wonder if the nature of the IP is going to be more of an elephant in the room closer to launch, though. Like if the future Animus, Desmond arc, Assassin's Creed, Templars is going to end up.
It is about as far away from Assassins as you can get, which is big, burly
It's so far
Vikings.
now. We are so
like
far from where the series began.
It's like some person's weird D&D dream. Like, yeah, I'm a Viking assassin. I chop people with my axe and punch them in the face, yet I can sneak through the shadows.
Yeah. Big old burly guy sneaking through the shadows.
I've got high strength and massive dexterity.
So ridiculous.
The other thing the series has done since its origination is have a hell of a lot more fantasy and mythology involved, too.
Do you reckon Odin was the first assassin?
Oh, fuck off.
Oh my god.
And Thor will be like his mentor.
I am...
Are we still going to play Layla? I wonder if we're still going to be playing Layla.
Layla... I don't know if I ever got to Layla.
That's how bad the real life stuff is in Assassin's Creed, that you forget the person that you're playing as in the real world, and you only remember Cassandra and whatever that guy is.
Layla is the Odyssey? Oh my god,
And Origins. Yeah.
Does it not surprise you that they completely leave out all of the future stuff completely out of marketing now?
Yeah.
Like, all of the anime stuff is like old hat. Like,
it's just there. Why even exactly have it there then?
If you had said like Mrs. Uncharted or like Nancy Drake, I would know exactly who you were talking about. Who the hell is Layla?
She's not very interesting.
No.
She's not it's badly done. Her animations are badly done. Everything is bad. Like it's like the testing team made her or something like this. Like, oh, you make this part that no one is gonna play.
Calm down.
On that note, there was, compared to previous entries in the series, there was a very, very brief playable genders controversy on /r Xbox One regarding you being able to play as a female Viking, when I thought everyone knew that was the thing.
What the fuck is wrong with people? If you don't want to play as the female Viking, play as the male Viking. Holy shit on a cracker.
Like, of all the historical settings they've gone to, this is the one where that also makes the most sense.
What, a female Viking? What, the people are upset that there's a female Viking?
Yeah.
No, come on. Really?
Yeah, like Vikings are famous for being female sometimes.
But why does it matter?
I know, Matt. Why does it?
Sorry, I've gotten so past, like, I don't know, like, we've been talking about games for years, and we've been talking about what gets people mad for years. That it's like, at this point, like, it's like 2020, and you just wonder, like, oh wait a minute, people still get upset about that? People are still having console wars? Like,
what
get the fuck out of here.
In this instance is that the main character isn't a female Viking. You can play as the main character, male or female, whatever they're called, Ivor, or whatever their race is, right? If you don't want to play as the female, play as the male. It is literally irrelevant. If it was Tomb Raider or whatever, right? You can only play as a female. You shouldn't still even complain about that, but fair enough. Maybe you just want to play as male characters. But this is a game that literally has both options. Why are you complaining? Why?
But this is happy. We're laughing at people who have grown up in a very, very terrible way. Yeah.
So, as far as I know, there has been at least one real skeleton burial place found of a female Viking warrior buried with swords and axes and armor and stuff. But many, many references to it happening in the records, in the literature, and the mythology. And the characters show up in the mythology. The Shield Maidens and Valkyries are a big thing in the sagas. And there are descriptions from the Vikings as victims of them finding women bodies in the battles.
Like, Viking women would literally tear the people who complain about this shit in half.
The evidence is there, and I guess there's there might be controversy over whether or not they were actively fighting on the front lines or playing more of a support role, but the whole concept of the Viking afterlife is like getting dragged away from the battlefield by a hot Viking lady who's the last thing you see before you die, right?
Like that Amazonian part in Futurama.
It sounds pretty rad, and would also make sense for a rallying cry on the battlefield to have both the women and the men in the shit.
Can you imagine both these giant men and women screaming at you with massive axes?
Terrifying. So, we also got some fun listener questions.
Nice.
If you would like to tell us how bad our podcast is, send it in to dadandsonspodcast@gmail.com.
Please do.
Once again, that's dadandsonspodcast@gmail.com.
Send them now for your chance to win nothing.
Omar wants to ask us about moments where we've been impressed by scale in games. In my humble opinion, scale isn't taken advantage of in video games. I want to see a sense of scale, like Asuka's fight scene in the end of Evangelion. A less spoilery analog would be the Burly Brawl from Matrix Reloaded. Fast forward to today in the Travis Scott Cross Fortnite event, that's scale! You see a huge model of Travis walking around the island, and it's refreshing to see that effect be taken advantage of as you run and jump around chasing that huge model. With the exception of Shadow of the Colossus, QTEs and cutscenes are the best we have, IMO. And even then, rarely is the sense of scale conveyed outside of boss fights, which is frustrating when I know video gaming is the medium to convey scale. The apex of this effect, I imagine, would be achieved in VR, but it's a shame games don't play around with scale that much, especially when realizing a Fortnite event is the best example of this I can think of. Is this a development thing? Can you think of examples of games that gave you a sense of scale?
God of War.
Maybe Liam.
Yeah.
Maybe Liam could comment if hitboxes or bump mapping or game design or something else I can't think of makes it difficult to make a game where you're human-sized but have giant monsters roaming around.
Oh.
First off, I want to agree with both Matt and Omar. God of War, the fucking snake in the river thing.
Oof.
That is scale.
The world
and
serpent?
Not only is that backed up, the world serpent.
And even the boss fight with, what was it, Boulder? What was his name?
Like the big son of Odin or whatever.
I couldn't feel any pain. Like, even that was, even though he wasn't big, like, those fights were amazing.
Yeah. And so, like, with the World Serpent, I think the thing that added to it is the audio, the sound that comes from him is, like, resonatingly... Yeah, it's insane. But I do want to agree with Omar. I watched the Travis Scott Fortnite thing. That was pretty fucking sick. That was scale. That really was scale. Like, I don't know if you guys saw that. It's well worth a watch. It is pretty amazing what they do.
You should describe it for the listeners.
Imagine Travis Scott. For those who don't know, is a black guy, and he's massive in Fortnite. and he's doing what he would do in music videos, you know,
Wow.
dancing, jumping around. It is pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
And it's 12 minutes long, and 12 million people watched it, and it's amazing. And it is scale. I think a sense of scale is something in video games that hasn't been done very well, and it is kind of a development thing. You can't just make giant objects, because
Yeah.
you're going to have mesh that is either you can make lots and lots of small objects and then have a normal object be the biggest thing. But for example, like the world serpent, for example, think of the detail and how good that thing looks, right? You've got to make a giant texture that wraps all around him and is detailed, and that is going to be like an image texture that's got to be 4K, maybe.
Yeah, it's still got to look good up close.
And it's like, and this is part of the reason he's probably a serpent, right? And the way he is because it's the same repeating texture. So you are kind of cheating, right?
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. That's clever.
But with like Travis Scott, it's a bit less detailed. He's very cartoony. He's cell shaded, so it's a lot of color block instead of having like bump map textures and all that kind of heavy detailed stuff. So he's probably a bit easier. But yeah, sense of scale is hard. Like for example, the God of War games nail it, right? You know, like even when you're climbing up Mount Olympus in God of War 3, like on the back of the Titan. Like, that is insane. And I have no idea how they pulled that shit off on, like, PS3 and stuff. There is some technical wizardry that goes on with whoever works on God of War, right? But, yeah, it's...
The Travis Scott thing is incredible.
Yeah, it's really good.
Oh, my God. This is not some... You know, like... You know how boring people can make these things. This is incredible.
Not boring. And it's built specifically for Fortnite, right? And that's the effort that's going to... It's not just a giant Travis Scott who's performing. Literally, like, they bring a planet-sized asteroid towards the map.
Holy
that has, like, a hollow
shit.
inside that has a theme park on it. And
What?
everything, and this roller coaster that extends out from the asteroid into the world and everything. It's amazing. And then the whole world changes into a black hole, and they get sucked into space, and then the gravity of it changes, and then they go underwater. It's incredible. It's like world manipulating stuff. Like think of like World of Warcraft when like what's his name? The big dragon, the fire dragon, Deathwing. Is it Deathwing?
No
What's
idea.
the dragon called?
Smog?
No, fucking WoW dragon.
Smog. Oh my God. The Hobbit.
Deathwing.
Come on.
Yeah, it's Deathwing. He's called Deathwing. Cataclysm, when the whole of the the whole of Azeroth got destroyed in two, or basically got destroyed by this dragon. Like that was scale back in the day as well, right? And not many. It depends on how you do it. You can change the world. Like you can play a cinematic, and then the whole world gets destroyed, and then it comes back, and it's a new map. But in terms of like giant characters, and it can be a little tough to make stuff like that because, especially with a game like God of War, you've got so much detail. You're making these massive characters that have huge meshes. You know, most of the time you see these things from like, you know, maybe the neck up. And you know they won't have any body or anything. There'll just be these giant arms, or disembodied arms or heads.
I do want to point out that I'm always disappointed when a video game boss battle is like a giant, incredibly huge, impressive monster just like slapping the two spots on the table you're dancing between.
And that's the thing is, another thing is scale, right? As things get bigger, they're perceived to be slower. So a lot of the times games cheat because it's easy to make things move slow, but that's actually how things would move.
Yeah, isn't there like a biological explanation behind that that's like real? Like big animals like typically do tend to move slower?
Yeah, it's why like in every fucking movie ever, when you have like giant aliens or whatever that are on the planet, they're like boom, boom.
The sound effects.
It's just like it's the way like how we move slower than a fly or an ant, right? And if there is some physics-based explanation that I don't know off the top of my head.
There is something, yeah. Like whales tend to kind of hang on the notes longer than us. Elephants tend to just stand around and flop more than not.
So it's a case of a lot of those things, and that's kind of why the Travis Scott thing is amazing, because the way Travis moves in the videos is like to the scale, but he teleports around, which makes his movement still look fast, but his actual movements from a model of that scale match like how you think something of that size would be. There are some examples like Azra's Wrath, there's like giant moon-esque bosses that land on you that are planet-sized. Bayonetta has some huge bosses. Monster Hunter obviously has giant-ass monsters that can give you a sense of scale, but true scale, where it's not like video game scale, I think Shadow of the Colossus definitely wowed some people because they were literal physical interactive objects, right? They weren't just like these cutscene based things. They were literal like moving mountains that you could jump on. I think some parts of Breath of the Wild where you have to jump on the wild, the whatever they're called, the four beasts, like the elephant and the bird and everything, especially the bird one, which is literally flying over the map.
And when it flips, and you get that like, vertigo.
Yeah, that kind of sense of scale is incredible too. But then on the smaller side of things, like playing Half-Life Alyx, the real sense of scale based on how one-to-one objects feel in that game means that when you step out onto the balcony at the beginning of Alyx, and then that giant like crawling walker, I don't know what the names of those things are called. Mm-hmm. Like when it's putting its giant legs across buildings and smashing into brick and stuff, you're like, whoa, this is really cool.
Yeah,
I think video games are getting there, but yeah, I think it's just hard to convey things at massive scales.
They do say the apex of this effect, I imagine, would be achieved in VR. I just want to like point out, for however many times I've said it before, I almost think the moment when I first looked to the side of my shoulder in the PSVR X-Wing demo and saw a planet-sized thing, I remember where I was that day. Like, it actually is kind of sort of a life-changing experience knowing how big your planet is compared to you.
George, I just remembered the thing that gave me the biggest sense of scale in any video game ever, and it was the PS4 VR demo of Zone of the Enders VR.
Oh.
When I first sat in the cockpit of the robot, because the cockpits are in the literal where the cock is, literally in the middle of the robots.
Wait,
so
what?
It's actually
like
true.
The cockpit position in Zone of Enders is literally where your cock would be, basically. And so when you're sat there, you can't see the bottom because there's like a fog hiding your legs. But the robots you're fighting are so massive in front of you because you're not at the top. You're not like eye level with them.
Your waist level. Yeah.
Your cock level. So you're just looking up while fighting these giant robots.
That is really clever because everyone always looks big when you look up at them from below.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it was like twofold. I remember that being the game was shit in VR, but that when it was stationary, that first initial like hit was like, holy shit. This is very big.
Elite Dangerous will give you that really good. Really
anything where you're sat in a cockpit like a spaceship and stuff is like
lots of cockpits
almost like
going on. Okay.
Yeah.
We go to another C word.
So there is a character in the extended Marvel universe named Eternity, who is apparently made a supervillain made out of the entire universe. And, I'm also hoping that the apex of scale will not be achieved in VR, because I want to be fighting some evil monster that's not just planet-sized, but even bigger than that in some kind of VR games. The possibilities are endless. The existential crisis itself could be the boss battle.
Man, that'd be great.
Yeah, and
Like Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. If they made a VR game of Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann where you're basically throwing galaxies at each other by the end, that would be pretty sick.
well, that's what happens at the end of Gurren Lagann.
Yeah. It's funny you said that because I've been watching Gurren Lagann this week, so thank you for spoiling that. I appreciate it.
Now we're gonna have to watch Gurren Lagann.
What are the odds of you talking about an anime that I'm literally watching?
I am so sorry, Matt. I am so fucking sorry. I am so
What are the odds?
so sorry.
What are
The only thing I know about Gurren Lagann is the titty girl.
Yes,
Oh man.
that's almost like I'm trying to get through that fan service, but jeez.
Oh man, Matt, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. That fan service.
No, like if
is
anything,
so
I'm
cool.
way more interested now. That's the kind of like schlocky fan service I want. More.
Oh, well, hang on a sec.
more the galaxies or
Yeah.
oh.
Is that a Gurren Lagann robot?
I have Gurren Lagann right. I have him right here.
So what you're saying is
is.
that I should finish this series? Is it
Oh my god, yeah, it's the best anime. One of the best animes of all time.
really?
Easily, hands down. Oh man, it's literally one of my favorite animes ever.
Okay, I'll finish it.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I'll finish it by next week.
Robots are great. Gurren Lagann's awesome. Everybody go home and watch that now. Email dadandsonspodcast@gmail.com. We
Get
love you.
ready for some fan service.
But there's no sense of scale.
What are you talking about? Is my cockpit too small for you?